Today we're going to be talking about tracking categories and how to use find and recode in Xero. They kind of go together real well because a lot of times when you're using tracking categories, a lot of things get unassigned, and it's just a lot easier to go assign them through find and recode. So once you get logged into your account here in Xero, you'll want to go to Settings, General, and then under General Settings, you'll see Tracking. And as you can see, I start it, so it shows up in my drop down here. So I can just quick jump there if I need to. So the main use for tracking categories is to track things by a region or location. So it doesn't have to be like United States as a region, so different states. It can be different cities or different store locations in the same city. But region and then department. So any way that you'd split up each of those locations, you want to be able to split up tracking expenses and revenue and things like that. So those are the best two ways to use tracking categories. And Xero isn't really made to do project costing or project tracking. They have a great add-on for that called Workflow Max, but Xero itself isn't really made for that. There are some people who do use the tracking categories as a way to track projects, but I don't recommend that because when you run reports, any category, either under department or region, or if you had project, would show up. So if you are a larger company, you could potentially have hundreds and hundreds of contracts show up in this list that you have to run reports on. And after several years, you probably don't need to see them anymore. So it's just a lot easier to use an actual project costing software. So when you come in here, when you're setting up your new business, none of these will exist. And so you'll have to hit add tracking category. And right now you can see that we're at our limit. So as you can see, it's limited to 2 tracking categories and up to 4 maximum, meaning you can have 2 archived and then 2 current ones. Right now we have region and department, and in here we have finance, marketing, operations, and purchasing. You can add as many as you want. You can also rename them at any time. So if you changed your finance department, you wanted to make it, maybe accounting. If I can spell accounting instead, you can just hit rename and boom, it's accounting. And so you don't really want to rename them if you're changing them. So if you're adding a new department and you weren't using accounting anymore, you wouldn't want to just rename accounting something else. You'd really want to just create a new one and then delete or archive accounting. And you can't delete accounting if it had transactions attached to it, so it would just automatically archive. There's no way to delete something if there's transactions attached to it. So now that we have regions and departments, as you can see, now we can go in here and we can go see, say, if you were going to go create a new invoice, purchase order, or spend money. So say spend money is probably the most appropriate because when you're selling things, you're not going to use a lot of the departments as much as when you're making purchases, because more people spend money than sell things. So now you can see that you have region and department. So if say we bought something from Amazon, we could go in here and we could say we purchased, product 1, quantity of 1 for $100. And it's going to be an office supply. And that's going to go to the South region, but it's going to go finance. Or we renamed it accounting. And then you can go product 2, $100. Still office, still South, but now it's the operations. So part of that purchase was for operations, and then you just go ahead and save. So now you can code things specifically to region, or you can do the same thing with region as we just did with department, where it's several different regions, same department, or same region, several different, or mix and match. It's kind of nice. So once you've done that, you can also assign employees to regions, which is also nice, so that their salary and their payroll cost, if you're using Xero to run it, will automatically hit that region specifically or be split up depending on how you set them up. So now that we have one coded, we can go in here and reports, all reports, and we can run one of the new income statements, and you can run it by region or department or both. And I'll show you how to do that. So go here. All right, so over here under report settings, you can see department and region. So you can go in here and say, I just want to see the accounting department, and I want to see it just for all regions, or you can pick a specific region. So if you just want to see what accounting looked like across your whole company, there you go. And you can hit update, and it looks like we only have that $100 expense. Where's the rest? Well, we can go check that with Find and Recode. So a lot of times when you have anyone, just humans, using a system, a lot of times they forget to do things or do things wrong. And so there's another report we can easily run to kind of show you where things are coded for tracking categories, which is nice. So you can go to this tracking summary. And what you can do here is you can run it for a date range. So we'll back it up some so we have a little bit more expenses to deal with. And then you pick your account group. So we want to look at expenses, and we want to see them for departments. All right, so you can see here that we have 2 departments that have expenses and then unassigned. And the reason the other 2 don't show up is because they haven't had any expenses yet. So you can see what the opening balance was, the activity, and then closing. And as you can see, the majority of our expenses are in unassigned, which isn't good because that doesn't help us with reporting. So that's where Find and Recode comes in. So if you are an advisor in Xero, you can go to your advisor tab. You can come down here to Find and Recode, and you can do mass recoding of unassigned things, which is it's really nice. So it'll show you all your history, see what things you've changed, and then you can hit here, and Find and Recode, and set up a new criteria to find some things to fix. So we want to go in here and get things coded to departments correctly. And we want to only do it for the North region. So we can go in here and say North, or you can change it to is not North, but we're going to go with North. And then we want to say up here in department, and we want to do unassigned. Anything that is not assigned, we want to fix and do search. And you can also see in here that you can also do type, status, account, date, all kinds of stuff, which is really cool. The date one's nice because otherwise you get a lot of transactions. But we only have 12, which isn't too terribly bad. So all of these need to be coded into a department. And as you can see, they can show you the type here. You've got AR, accounts receivable, accounts payable, and then a refund and office supply purchase. So we can go in here and we can say, all right, we think these office supplies belong to a department, and we can say these consulting services probably. So it's for, consulting and accounting and advertising. So we'll take those 3, and we're going to say, all right, do we want to change the source transactions or manual journal entry? I like personally changing the source transactions. That way, whenever anyone's looking in their region area running reports, they can click on it, they can see all the detail. Because with a journal entry, if I move something from one department or region to another one, you're not going to see any of the attached documentation that went with the actual original transaction. So I always changed source transactions. And as you can see, you can change contact, account, and tax rate. Those are the automatic default ones, but you can also go in here and add department and region. We don't need to change region because we selected North and we want it to stay there. But we do want to add the department, and we're going to add accounting. So accounting, hit review, and it says based on amount you have recoding, and it could take a while. And we're going to hit confirm. So we're going to just wait. All right, and it is all done. So you can see that the status is completed over here. You can see the 3 that we changed, and you can click on them and go look in detail to see what happened. And you can see here, now this Amazon purchase has a department as well as a region. Come down here to notes, which I love this about Xero, and see, okay, what was it before? Well, you can see that I didn't have any department before, but everything else is the same. So go ahead and close that. And so you can do this as many times. You can go, so if you want to continue to look at unassigned things for the North region, you can just go back to using that same search, and it'll just bring up the same criteria you had in there before. And now you can see that there's 9 transactions instead of 12. So if you wanted to go in here and check off all the AR, say, well, the AP ones we're not sure well, but the AR definitely goes to the sales team. You could go ahead and recode those. And then when you go back to reports, in either that transaction tracking summary or you can run an income statement and see those things show up under the accounting department, the ones we just recoded for the north. So we're going to select accounting and rent. And boom, now we have a lot more expenses in there. Still not a lot because there's 50,000 unassigned, but we have some more. So that's kind of how the basics of tracking categories and find and recode work. Feel free to let me know if you have any questions or any other areas you want me to cover, talk about in Xero, and